All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It's that time of the week, folks. My key games for the upcoming Saturday in the world of college football. And you got a lot of big games from a lot of conferences tomorrow that are going to help shape the college football playoff picture. Now, you got the 23rd ranked Wildcats out of Kansas State traveling to Austin to take on the 7th ranked Texas Longhorns. These are two teams that have aspirations of winning the Big 12. And of course, in the case of K State, they're looking to repeat as Big 12 conference champions. Now, over the last 2 weeks, K State beat up on TCU and Houston to the tune of a combined score of 82 to 3. And when you think about K State and their offense, it's all about that running game with running back DJ Giddens and then the dual threat action of quarterback Will Howard. Now, on the flip side for Texas, last week was big for Malik Murphy as he stepped in to fill the shoes of Quinn Ewers at quarterback. He looked sharp against BYU in helping Texas get the win. And I think that has to be big for not only Murphy, but his teammates and his coaches as well. Texas can still run the football very effectively with running back Jonathan Brooks. And I think that should open things up for the play action to the likes of Xavier Worthy. And then also keep an eye out on this Longhorns defense led by linebacker Jalen Ford. Now, Texas comes into this contest at home, favored by 3.5 points. I think this is a back and forth, nip and tuck affair throughout. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Horns at home, 31 to 30. Now, in the SEC, you're going to have the 12th ranked Missouri Tigers traveling to Athens to take on the second ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Excuse me. Now, Georgia is a big time favorite in this game. They come in favored by 15 and a half points. And I got several big questions about this contest. How motivated are the dogs going to be? Because, and I say this in a good way, Georgia has been ranked number one in the AP polls throughout this entire process so far this season, and for good reason. They're the two-time defending champs. But then in the initial college football playoff rankings, Georgia's number two. So I really want to see if that's going to light a fire, if you will, under Georgia. Now, of course, Georgia has had an issue so far this season, starting slow, but they know how to turn it on in the second half. So it's going to be interesting to see how Georgia starts tomorrow. Now, Carson Beck at quarterback is calm, cool, and collected in the pocket for Kirby Smart's team. And at this point, you know what? He's a full-time starter, and I say that from the standpoint that if this isn't August, this isn't September, this is November, okay? And this young man has passed all the tests so far as he's looking to help Georgia possibly three-peat. Now, of course, no Brock Bowers still on offense for Georgia, but you got Dejon Edwards and this powerful Georgia running game. And then, of course, you look at this defense with Smale Munden and company. For Missouri, of course, the question is going to be, do the Tigers have enough or will they be able to pull off the upset? I mean, you go back to last year when this game was in Columbia, Missouri gave Georgia all that they could handle and then some before they lost late. For Missouri, obviously, they're going to look to start fast. You want to try to take that crowd out of the game in Athens, but it's not just about taking them out of the game. You got to keep them out of the game. And for me, I look at quarterback Brady Cook. He has all of the tools to go out there and help Missouri pull off the upset, but Brady Cook has to take care of the football. He can't turn the football over. He's got to consistently move the chains on third down. And when you get those opportunities against this Georgia defense, you got to make the most of them. Luther Burden the third is a legit playmaker at the wide receiver position, and also keep an eye out for running back Cody Schrader. Now, 24 sacks by this Missouri defense so far this season. And then you look at that secondary led by Chris Abrams Drain with 4 interceptions. So the question is going to be, does Eli Drinkwitz have enough to go down to Athens tomorrow and pull off the upset? Possibly, but I'll tell you like this. Missouri is going to have to play a flawless game. And I say that win the field position battle, win the turnover battle, and capitalize on the opportunities against Georgia. That's too many ask of a team, and I don't think that Missouri gets it done tomorrow. I think Missouri will give Georgia all that they can handle, but I think Georgia pulls away late, and I'm going to give the Bulldogs the 34-24 win at home. Now back in the Big 12, and it's going to be the final Bedlam game for the foreseeable future, as you have the ninth ranked Sooners out of Oklahoma making the trek to Stillwater to take on the 22nd ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys. And I know nationally, Bedlam doesn't get the press in comparison to some of the other rivalry games about around college football, but within the state of Oklahoma, this is a big to do. I know that the win loss column is one sided in favor of the Sooners, but at the end of the day, anytime you get Oklahoma and Oklahoma State on the football field together, you simply throw the rule book out the window. And I think this has the makings to be a tremendous matchup tomorrow. For Oklahoma, they're definitely looking to get back on track after they lost last Saturday in Lawrence to Kansas. And I think Dylan Gabriel and this offense, they're going to be ready to go. I like what Oklahoma has with their running game with both Tawee Walker and Marcus Major. Danny Stutzman and this Oklahoma defense, what are they going to be able to do? They let Kansas do whatever they wanted to them last week, and I think Oklahoma needs to get back to that nasty. 14 interceptions so far by the Sooners defense. Can they find a way to slow down this Cowboys offense? And Oklahoma State, they're hot right now. They've won their last four. Quarterback Alec Bauman is playing some solid football, but then I love the way that the Cowboys are running the football right now with the likes of Ollie Gordon II. For me, like I said, you throw the rule book out of the window when you get Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Boone Pickens is going to be electric tomorrow with fans from both sides supporting this one. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to give Oklahoma State the 34-33 edge. Now in the Sun Belt, you got James Madison set to get it on with Georgia State. And of course, for James Madison, they're one of the feel good stories of this season. They're undefeated and they're looking to win the Sun Belt. James Madison has a very talented team. You look at quarterback Jordan McLeod, you look at wide receiver Reggie Brown, and then defensively, what they're getting from Aiden Fisher at linebacker, and then Jalen Green on that defensive line with 15 and a half sacks so far. Now, Georgia State is no joke either. And honestly, these could be, in my opinion, the two best teams in the Sun Belt right now. Georgia State has quarterback Garen Granger, and then you got running back Marcus Carroll, wide receiver Robert Lewis, and then defensively, the likes of linebacker John Trey Hunter. James Madison has been playing it close the last couple of weeks. But they've been going out there and taking care of their business and finding ways to win. And I think they get it done on the road tomorrow. And because of that, I'm going to take JMU by the score of 34-27. Now, back in the Big 12, you're going to have the 21st ranked Jayhawks out of Kansas traveling to take on Iowa State. Cyclones come into this contest favored by 3 at home in Ames. And I want to see for Kansas, how are they going to look after they pulled off the big upset of Oklahoma last week? Sometimes when teams pull off a big upset like that, they tend to have a little letdown. But for Kansas, they got to keep their running game going between quarterback Jason Bean and then the running ability of Devin Neal and Daniel Highshaw Jr. For Iowa State, when you think about the Cyclones, they always have a solid defense. And then you look at this offense with quarterback Rocco Becht and wide receiver Jaden Higgins. I think Kansas is going to be up for the challenge. They're the underdog tomorrow. Iowa State is holding a 3-point favorite at home, but I think Kansas goes out there and takes care of their business. And I'm going to take Rock Chalk Jayhawk in this one by the score of 30-20. Now in the Pac-12, you're going to have the 5th ranked Huskies out of Washington traveling to the Coliseum to take on the 20th ranked Trojans out of USC. And for USC, we know that they can score points, but is their defense going to get it together? I mean, in 4 out of the last 5 games for the Trojans, they surrendered at least 40 points. Caleb Williams, as good as he is, he's been trying to bail this team out at quarterback, but he's going to need some help from this defense. I look at Washington. They're undefeated. They're the last undefeated team left in the Pac-12, but they've struggled in recent weeks. After they beat Oregon at home, they struggled at home with Arizona State. They struggled last week on the road in Palo Alto against Stanford. And again, what Washington team are we going to see? I mean, excuse me, this is a big game for both of these teams. Washington is looking to stay in play among the top of the ranks, if you will, for the college football playoff, while USC is still holding out hope of winning the Pac 12. Two quarterbacks here that are going to get drafted in the first round next spring. Of course, Caleb Williams and then Michael Penix Jr. for Washington. Can this USC defense find a way to make Michael Penix Jr. uncomfortable? We got to wait and see. For me, I know that the Coliseum is going to be going crazy. For this one, I don't expect a sellout due to the fact that USC has already lost 2 games so far this season. But it comes down to this SC defense. Can they slow down Washington's offense? And for me, the answer is no. And because of that, I'm going to take the Huskies on the road by the score of 37-31. Now, back in the SEC tomorrow night in Tuscaloosa, you're going to have the 14th ranked LSU Tigers traveling to take on the 8th ranked Crimson Tide out of Alabama. And for the Bayou Bengals, they are looking to derail Alabama's chances of getting to the SEC championship game. But a win tomorrow night by the Crimson Tide would put them one step closer, and it'd be one big step closer in regards to getting to Atlanta. Now, both of these teams had a bye week coming into this game. They should be fresh and rested, and there's plenty of NFL talent on both sidelines tomorrow night. You look at LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, and last year when the Tigers upset Alabama in Death Valley, this Alabama defense really didn't have an answer for him. So it's going to be interesting to see, because this Alabama defense this year is better than the Alabama defense last year. And they have to find a way, because you're not going to stop Jaden Daniels, but you have to find a way to neutralize him and limit the big plays. First with his legs, and then, of course, with his arm as well. Now, for Alabama, they have not been winning pretty, but the most important thing is that they have been winning. And I think when Jalen Milroe came back to the starting lineup at quarterback, it sparked something in this entire team. I think since then, Alabama has ran the football better with Jace McClellan. The passing game is improving with Jalen Monroe connecting with the likes of Jermaine Burton. And then again, you can't say enough about this Alabama defense with the likes of Deontay Lawson and Dallas Turner. Again, Alabama has not been winning pretty, but they've been winning. And I think that theme continues tomorrow night. And because of that, I'm going to take the Tide at home by the score of 27-21. Now, tomorrow night in the Mountain West, you got Boise State taking on Fresno State. Second place is on the line in the Mountain West. Boise, obviously, this is a rematch from last year's Mountain West championship game. They played 2 times in the regular season on the Smurf turf last year. Boise State won the regular season contest, while Fresno went back there in December and got the win. For the Broncos, they've been winning there, and they've been up and downs at times. They looked great last week against Wyoming. But you never know. What are you going to get from this Boise State offense? One week they're on, one week they're not. And then defensively, the Broncos are not as good as they were last year. On the flip side, for Jeff Tedford and Fresno State, Mikey Keene might be the best quarterback right now in the Mountain West, in my opinion. And I love what the Fresno State Bulldogs have on offense with running back Malik Sherrod and wide receiver Eric Brooks. 12 interceptions so far by this Fresno State defense. Fresno's tough to beat at home. They are a 2-point favorite. I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to take Fresno State at home by the score of 34-24. And finally, finishing off in the Pac 12, you got UCLA traveling to the desert to take on the Arizona Wildcats. And for the loser in this one, they're all but eliminated from having a chance to get to the Pac 12 championship game. So there's a lot of importance here. Is it going to be Dante Moore or Ethan Garbers at quarterback tomorrow night for UCLA? We got to wait and see. But when you think about a Chip Kelly led team, you think about their offense, and they do have a solid running game, the Bruins do, with running back Carson Steele. But UCLA is playing some tough defense this year, and it starts up front with Leatu Latu on that defensive line. On the flip side for the Wildcats, is it going to be Jaden DeLaura or Noah Fafita at quarterback? And of course, DeLaura was the starting quarterback to begin the season, but he's been injured. And this Arizona team has been playing some tough ball as of late. Running back Noah Coleman, the UCLA defense is going to have to key on him. And then I also look out for linebacker Jacob Manu on this Arizona defense. This is going to be a back and forth affair throughout, but I give the edge to UCLA because of their defense. And I'm going to take the Bruins in this one on the road by the score of 24-23. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, telling all of you thanks for dealing or listening to my sore throat tonight. And once again, I'm signing off and saying thanks again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.